then they will tell you about the Puma rugby, what was, then the 1990, what, then that's it. Then I was like, no, before Western Churchill, it's not like we never had people here. Western Churchill got people in Witbank. So let me tell a story in a perspective yabantu abamnyama.
When utele royalty ya ka kuwa wa tlisha royalty ya ka mole mara wena o gole mosabopelo
Akizogole. I want to go far, but yeah, I'm getting there.
but which is good, meaning we stealing actually the royalty from that side to ka kwa Mapeding. So when you pedu tswa kae?
I'm from Begersfort.
Begersfort Ilkleji Witbank
Yeah, but-
na
Yeah, you know, Witbank, it's still under Sekhukhune region.
yeah gabotse go we lebeletse ka re like 2 kilometers away from each
Exactly,
other
but-
but for stable ke 2 kilometers.
But besides that, like from Val, before like our democracy, and from Val, remember we used to call our provinces Transvaal. There was Orange Free State and Western Cape. So Transvaal starts from the Val, Gauteng, Mpumalanga and Limpopo. That was Sekhukhune region.
Okay, that part I get to be. Sanbonani, guys. This is 013 Golden Circle. Sesingenile Spaghetti with Abuti Tita Litwalo. By the way, this is your girl Sheila Matabo, your host for Sip and Paint, and today we are with 013 Golden Circle le Abuti Tita. Ari, he's from the Val. Ko re gabotse today ke tlablela Spade. You understand? Ngiyaphumanyana go siZulu. Putsietsi.
Yeah, bo.
O tlang ba re ke kae? Begersfort.
Begersfort,
Please
yeah.
do tell us about who is Abuti Tsietsi Ali Begersfort growing up.
Okay, I was born back then. I can't say when, but I was born back then. I was born back then. So when I do research or when I ask my parents and my grandparents, I was actually born go Glencowie. So there's
Glencowie.
yeah,
Okay.
there's a hospital called Glencowie Hospital.
Yeah, ke bona Glencowie.
That's where I was born. But my father is from Gopaneng, a village in Begersfort. So my mother is from Skinord. So
Okay.
ke Mopedi then, but I spent the rest of my life more with Benkar. We moved. I think my parents, they moved before 1985 to come this side. Then, but I was born that side. Then, 1990. Then that's when we moved officially. No, 1989. That's when we moved officially to Emarahleni.
Re sala go 1990. Belel ba ba kae mo Witbank pila because it sounds like benifo wena na bazali.
No, like I was still young. Like I can't remember, but what I know is that from 1989 we moved to Hlalangahle, and I was still young. And then when I make a research, then I was told to go to like Ethala. Then yeah, but the story of where originally we come from, it's Begersfort and Skinord.
And
Skinord, the Janfes, that side,
area,
yeah.
And then you came to Witbank. Now coming to Witbank, this is Abuti Tsietsi. He's growing up. He's now going to school. In which school did you go to?
I did my primary level, go Nelson Ngubeni primary level. Primary school, I mean primary school, then I went to Mpuku in secondary school. And after Mpuku in secondary school, I tried to enroll go college. There is this college called IQ Academy. I tried to do marketing, but I dropped out after 6 months. I can't say due to lack of funds, but yeah, due to lack of funds.
And then from there, you just held it in your hand, like, I have to make this life. And then this is Abuti Tsietsi. He's now in his age and whatnot. I heard that you are married.
Yes, I am.
And then
Happily
it's
married.
a marriage because you sound like somebody who just came from Buskinoto and whatever when you came to Witbank. Like, I want to know the experience of growing to become who you are. But now I want you to give me the foundation because now I want to see Abuti Tsietsi for who he was when he was in his life.
Okay, let's track back when I was 5. I think I was the smartest to go preschool. I was one of those kids who answers questions. Then I went to Nelson Ngubeni as a young man or as a young boy, not even a young man. As a young boy, I was Nesingubeni, but I was very Tom A. Tom A, like Tom Tubula was spam some dog. But I was very naughty, energetic. I was popular, I was famous Koskolong. I remember I was the captain of the school. I used to play football. I was the captain of school under 12. Then I was also doing
football is among
like, nothing. I tried everything. The only thing that I didn't do in Mpilweni is to sing, because I can't sing. I don't have a voice to sing. I tried to sing though. Cod liver oil for me. But yeah, but yeah, like me playing school in Lesungubeni was me playing football. I was one of the best footballer. I was a top goal scorer at school, and I was the captain of the team. Then I was doing a contest. I was Mr. Nelson Gubeni at some point. So I was very popular. This fame thing came naturally.
I must say this is very impressive. So now tell me, then you grow up, this is a guy who's trying life. I like the fact that you had a lot of things that you tried in life. I mean, even trying TVET for you to say, I want to see what life's bring. But now this is you tried Usoka, you tried this, you tried the contest. Yo, maralumfazi angangishayo mama sendlini. So whenever we love bahamba ngembambo, kidimbambo ne. Oh, Nkosi yami.
You can see from the cut. Lobutlo tala shama cut wakhe, shama eskeli. I used to have the styling gel, it's green, it's blue.
Let's just cool. Every chance we tell her pumu blank avele once. So this is you now.
Yeah.
You did all this in your high school. Now we call it high school. This a B. So you did all this in high school. Then you go out. You now do marketing, and then ute not funds, okay, but funds, ne. Yes. So with that being said, this is you now, you're trying life, and then you drop out. Meaning you didn't fail, you just dropped out.
I dropped out, yes, yeah.
You can still do it.
I can still do it, yeah. I'm doing it now.
You're doing it now. Oh, that's great. So now you drop out, then what happens?
I followed my passion.
What is the passion?
My passion is being a creative artist. I've been doing art or writing stories where at grade 8. I remember like we had a class competition. So one of my class teacher, may her soul rest in peace, Umem came to class and said we must do a group sketches. So in my group, then we created a sketch. Then the sketch won. Then sketch masters won, and then we had to represent the class now competing with other grade 8s. Then we won. Then Umem came to me and said, I think you need to pursue art as one of your careers. Then that's when I started, like, as in, I need to pursue this. And Eskoleni, it was the beginning of the introduction of OPE. So OPE used to, like, abantwana benze art will go there by act. So I used to love that. Masizifika lezo ama science and maths buking but bangathi LO but arts and culture izethu ke lezo.
No, now it makes a young lady out there who's in school to say it's not really about science, it's not really about that. I can actually take it far with whatever that I am doing, whether it's with hands, whether it's with anything that has to do with that. So he's now pursuing art. When did you start with the art thing in pursuing it now after the school?
Yes.
Like what was the first thing that actually you did after the school that had to draw you to the art?
Okay, like the funny thing is that after that, I continued writing scripts, but I didn't have a direction. This is theater, this is TV, this is film. I was just writing because I used to watch your Pure Monat days on TV. I used to watch Dobe on 2. Those were my inspiration. Then I remember when I joined a community group, because like that's where art starts. If you wanna get the training, you must join a community group.
Yeah.
So I joined.
Love life or live life.
Before Love Life,
that was before.
I'm gonna get that. That was before Love Life.
Okay.
Then I wrote a script. Then I took the script to a community group. There was a group called Sarangahle in a smaller room. So I got there. Then I was like, yeah, guys, I'm a writer. Here's the script. Then they said, no, but you must act. That was the most difficult thing to do. That was the most difficult thing to do. So like now they took the script because the group was already rehearsing the script that they had, so they could not change the script because mina sengifigile. So like now I had to adapt and become part of this the cast now. So I started acting. I learned acting kanjalo. Then I think after a year, then we started going to festivals, go Soweto. We started going to Elondos. Those were the trips that we used to go to. Then I was spotted by there was a program done by Department of Arts and Culture in Mpumalanga. I think that was 2004, 2005. Then I was one of the actors that was picked or chosen to go to the workshops for a year. So I studied drama for a year. One of our teachers was Hamilton Dlamini and Uspiwe Nkosi. So yeah, I spent almost the whole year with them, studying drama, getting all the certificates, and then after that, I came back to that same group, Lena Abis now. Then we started writing, we started performing, then started going to Market Theatre. I used to go to Market Theatre every Saturday, and even hike from Lywoodbank to the dedication, because I needed that thing. I wanted it. So every Saturday you go to Market Theatre. At that time they used to have shows from community. Then they showcase. Then after showcasing, they sit down. Then they give them a constructive criticism, how to grow, and I used to love that part because in Market Theatre back then it used to be brutal. If vele awukwazi uact bakutshela straight but wena udlisa cast wena abudlala ibhola. So I'm like, one day I'm gonna come here, but I don't want these comments. I want proper comments. Yeah. Then I think Market Theatre played a good a role gaming. After the workshops, I wrote more shows. Then one of my best shows, I think I made history 2006. I wrote a show called A Letter from Hell.
A Letter from Hell.
Yes.
Whoa! While we are there.
Very interesting show, guy. It was a musical show, the first musical show.
A Letter from Hell.
Yes.
What was happening? No, mara maupala lezinto man. Now I wanna know, because you're writing. This is Butsietsi, he's writing. What drives you to write now? Like, for you to just come up with a scripture, because scripture or whatever you guys write there. Because my concern is, paragraph.
Yeah.
Paragraph 2 yabona ukuthi abona manje akusahambi kahle uvela udelete le nto leyo, but for you to now write the whole script that is going to be acted out, and for you to say they're going to act it, imagine scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, hona le Thandile Ntokozo, and then there's a Zulu one.
Yes.
Where does it come from? Are you a reader?
I'm a reader. I read a lot of books. Before the internet, I used to read a whole lot of books. Then because of my stammering problem, when I speak I'm stuttering, so like you can hear now when I speak I'm like you've got a hearing problem. But yeah, like on a serious note, the thing is I used to stammer a lot when I was still in high school. So writing was an escape. In order for me to express myself, I needed to write something.
So when you say you were stammering a lot,
yeah, because now I'm used to speak. Art taught me to be someone else. Like, there's one thing about art. I'm gonna tell you something. Yes. Me stammering, the only thing that made me good thing is express was writing. Okay. But me being an actor, it made me not to stammer. Because the character that I'm playing doesn't know who's meaning a stammerish. So now I must portray a character of someone who speaks proper. So that taught me, I need to breathe in when I speak. I must speak from the diaphragm. Like, those are the techniques that I needed to learn. Then I apply those techniques. But the problem is, when you speak from the diaphragm, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, we are I just did a performance. That's why, like, nanoma obuya like I could say Google plug apply khona vele. Because like they always say people living with disabilities they have all these
So kumele manje uyithathe phansi.
and I've never applied. I must go to Malahleni local municipality. Maybe I must get a
because,
job.
wow, it goes and it has, and now sokunama terminology manje. So now this is Uputsietsi. He's doing all this art and everything that he's doing, and then now life opens up, and then you start being this famous Putsietsi. Or it happened after. What happened? How does it come about?
Before the fame.
Yes.
Okay, before the fame, like I kept on writing shows. Letter from Hell. Letter from Hell, like it was an inspiration from. It's a very.
in hell.
No, like, can I just give you a background of the story?
Please.
At that time, I was a staunch Christian when I wrote this Letter from Hell. I was staunch Christian. Then I was intrigued by a verse, Revelations 20. Okay. So when you go to Revelations 20, they speak about who David was arrested in heaven for 1,000 years. Then after 1,000 years, uNkulunkulu will release David and mix it to the bottomless pit. And yeah, that was the story for me. I just wanted to remind people, yeah, but izulu liyeza amalanga okugcina sekafikile. So like sisebancane dog everything. No, don't exaggerate. Let's say I want to comment say it na ngizona 7 kanjani unabantwana abayi7. But yeah, like it was that, like Letter from Hell was that message to say God is coming soon, like so. And emhlabeni is so toxic manje. We live as if uNkulunkulu akekho. And Letter from Hell was just an awareness to say we must remember who we are. And yeah, there's
moral of the stories will preach a lot.
Not really. Yeah, like I was preaching, but in an artistic form. Not nje, but even abafundisi kahle baya act abafundisi because umfundisi mahlangana naye edrobheni uhamba kahle.
Mina ningangifaki.
Anyekufaka.
Yeah, wena uthe umfundisi uya act. Mina, I was not there, guys. It's just at the camera, you know. Because angifuna umfundisi amafike la tabana nabantu bakho theater. No, but I'm just saying ukuthi uya act because when uhlala nomfundisi kakhe e dining room, umfundisi ukukhuluma kahle sawubona mfana wami. Njani? Mara ngafika sontweni sawubona mfana wami. Unjani mfana wami? So you can see there's a transition between the normal guy and the pastor. And then
so like
pastor.
Yeah, you must have, and I don't know if you're a Christian pastor, you must have that voice like God is good
all the time.
All the time.
God is good.
Yeah, but so yeah. Then my favorite pastor, and I think in Nam interview, Babu Ezra Mzulu.
Yes.
I love Babu Ezra Mzulu. He's one of my inspiration. And I'm the gatekeeper of this town. So normally when I do ama-MC nginokuba nenhlanhla ukuthi uzoza azovula the ceremony mhlambe esiyenzayo, then he will always remind me, "Tsietsi mfana wami, you must tell them this is Dr. Ezra Mzulu, the gatekeeper of Emalahleni."
Oh, Nkosi yami.
Then we went to the same gym now somewhere. And you know, like gym, like you'll find these buff guys and when they lift their weights, use magama like bayathuka kanje so Babu Ezra bekayicela, I'm like, I wonder ukuthi yena bakayibamba lensimbi kuzoyenzakalani. But because he's a man of God and he doesn't forget ukuthi he's a man of God, ngambona bamba lensimbi, Jesus. Oh God. Mase imsinda kakhulu ngevathi shitarababa shitarababa. Amen. I was like, yeah, this is a man of God.
So kahle wena lo wayiphatha ukuthi mele iyenze na behind the scene.
Not behind the scene.
Okay,
not behind the scene.
So now I get the letter from hell, guys. Oh, okay, now. Okay, that was one, eh?
Yeah.
And then you are a comedian.
Yeah.
And then when does it come about? When does it start? Because I'm a man.
like me being a comedian, it's a very interesting story. Yeah? There's a show that I conceptualized. It's called 8 o'clock.
Mphathi Wizil, capsule.
Yeah, sometimes. Mangabe ungingiza kafiki sikhona upronounce kahle.
Phela conceptualize. Yes.
So I conceptualized the show called 8 o'clock because I had a background as a market theatre. Remember, I used to go to market theatre every day. Then I attended that training for a year. Snabo Hamilton Dlamini. Then Hamilton Dlamini came up with a show called Umpambo. Umpambo, it was in Ndebele history. Ndebele suka guphi nani kuze kufike la kaMahlangu. So I was one of the actors lab. Then after that, our show won. Because there was a competition, our show won. Then the show had an opportunity to perform a market theatre. So a market theatre at that time, they used to have a community festival and Izwakala festival. So community festival, you find there's 40 shows from across the country. Then they compete with Bazwangena go top 10. So Ngompambo sangena go top 10. But Masisfia go top 10, the show was supposed to be 1 hour because go community theatre, you just showcase 30 minutes so that they can see the potential. Then the market theatre will, like they will send facilitators, they will come and workshop the show, then the show is a figure to ER. So like now after that 30 minutes, we had to come to Witbank and the market theatre, they loved the show, then we qualified for a top 10 Ezogana Festival. Then I remember Uputsipo Mohale, he was one of the coordinators as a market theatre laboratory at that time. So bears again, mabafia githi but with no, they show it's small and kumele sikholise. Then they ask among the cast who can direct, and I was still there, like I was the youngest of them all at the time. Then I rose my hand, I was like, yeah, can you direct? I was like, yeah. Then they gave me that task. I directed the show from 30 minutes to 1 hour 45 to 1 hour 15 minutes. Then we took the show Sayimikisa a market theatre. There is a Puma number 2 on the show. Then that's when I was introduced to the late Mngitis Shabangu, Abu Mojalefa, Abu James Ngobo, all these great actors and the market theatre at that time. Then with that reputation now, I was known as a director of a market theatre. So with that reputation, I conceptualized the 8 o'clock show. Then we called around Basa Market Theatre, they came. Then I remember, you can't act right and you direct yourself.
And then soccer act.
Whatever, all those things. So like Lana, you need to get a director, you need to get someone who can do this and this. Then I brought in the guys, then we did 8 o'clock. Then 8 o'clock, then went to Market Theatre, same procedure. Zwagala Community Festival, Zwagala Festival. After the Zwagala Festival, we came number 2. But the funny thing is that after coming number 2, then we started getting calls from your state theatre, calls from National School of the Arts. That's where I'm going with the comedy. Ne? National School of the Arts, performing everywhere. Then we were nominated to Amana Lady Awards. We are the first group to win a Naledi Award in Mpumalanga. So we won the Naledi Award in 8 o'clock. So now we're performing a National School of the Arts. So it's a festival of fame. So they gave us some ticket to watch other shows. So one of the shows, Bogi Shoga Louis Sokola. So I got there, I watched Louis Sokola, I performed my Vets Theatre. I sat there for 45 minutes. I didn't laugh. I'm not saying Louis Sokola was not funny. He was really funny. But from the perspective of being begging, I was copying every move, every weight, every technique, because being fooled. Then I took that, remember the background here, I took that, I came back to church. So at that time, they used to give us some chance to perform.
Okay, Sunday school youth and whatnot.
Yeah, youth interfellowships. Yeah. Then I came to the youth interfellowship. I did all jokes. People were laughing. I was like, oh, yes, then that's when I started writing my own. Because like now I was tired of acting at that time. They were not committed to, and it was after matric, so people they wanted to pursue other careers. We as a kaya maulele so you must. So I think there was a whole lot of pressure. So mina stuck go art. So I found comedy as an escaping from good theatre, because I can do it alone. I don't need anyone else. Then I started writing my own jokes. 6 months later, there was a competition on TV. So you think you find coming to Witbank, whatever. Then I went to the auditions. After my auditions, I was the only one that was taken by Witbank. I went to represent Witbank. We had about 66 contestants across the country. My main aim was to Puma number 10 because I didn't know anything about comedy at the time. But by God's grace and the Mongians, the Monglena, I ended up coming number 2. Actually, I was supposed to come number 1. But that's a story. Yeah, that's a story for another day. No, they know because I knew ukuthi ngiluzile before bazokhipha ama results because I was told backstage then I saw what was happening backstage, like abantu they went to calculate in, then babuya abantu sebahaga abanye abantu lapha kuthiwa hey wena ngiyoluze. So I saw what was happening backstage. I knew the politics of that. Then ngaphuma number 2, hence like you don't even see me to other comedy shows none because of what happened. Then after that I came back
But what
home.
do you mean because of what happened? Like, is it when coming number 2, does this mean now you are not obligated to be open to other shows?
Not really. Like when you look at comedy as South Africa, especially the guys who are popular now, they were also eating Kefani, most of them. They came number 5, they came number 6, they came number 7. And like getting an opportunity, I go so eating Kefani. You are promised to do Iplex only. So Iplex only was the biggest comedy show at the time. Yaga David Ka is still the biggest. So you get a chance to go Iplex only. If you can go to Google and Google it's News 24 and see what is written there. It says it's number 2 is going to tour, not David Ka is going to perform go Iplex only. Then guess what? After I saw it, you find I called the same person. The same person says, no, I will tell you when you're ready. So till today, I'm still waiting for him, waiting ready or perform a Iplex song. So Iplex song is the only platform that made even your Trevor Noahs, your Loiso Colas and whatever. So every black comedian with the season rate in South Africa must pass through Iplex song. So unfortunately, I was one of the, and remember, like I was on So You Think You Find 1, then there was So You Think You Find 2. So You Think You Find 2. Pops came number 3, Celeste came number 2. They are popular, I'm saying. Then Abu Shampoo, they came number 5. Good idea. Abu Bande, who's this guy? Abu Kangisabu, whatever. They came number 4, number 5. But they went to Plex only. So I'm the only one who never went to Plex. I'm good. And when you're good,
that was a good answer though.
Yeah,
I'm super good. No comeback.
I'm super good, and when you're good, you become a threat. I remember one of the judges, Umushiri Motsecha, came to me backstage before they announced and says, "I know you're gonna come number 2, Namhlanje, but I don't want this to distract you. People who come number 2, they always become number 1 later in life because they want to prove a point because they're really good." So that's when I knew.
The main purpose of not making you win by then was because you still had to come back and thrive to be number 1.
Not really. Like in this country, or not in this country, but in this world, we support hype and mediocrity. And when you're good, you become a threat to those who are upper or whatever. So one of my boss my boss told me something. You know why you delayed to be successful in life? I'm like, why? You never followed the 48 rules of laws. Yeah, like there is this book about 48 in the 48
laws of Ntonton. I see
laws of power.
Iconic Ntonton.
Yeah,
this thing about found everything.
Yeah, the 48.
Let's follow a leon to let.
Something.
Yeah.
It's 48 laws of power.
Yeah.
Rule number 1: never outshine the master. That's a rule number 1. So when you do things, you don't care about the masters, the e-master, you outshine the master. Do you think that you'll get assisted?
No, but now this makes me come back and say, in life, it's a practical thing. A mother, a father, it's a master. If your master works in a kitchen, that doesn't determine where I'm going. So if you're going to say, I shouldn't outshine the master, Unfortunately, the master has taught me the basics, and with what I carry, meaning I can outshine the master. I feel like this is where the master needs to say, my product
Can I tell you
is
something?
better than the other products.
Can I tell you
But if
something?
it's so kichimanga, outshine the master. So many.
No, like, but that's how life is, unfortunately. Because ube nomphathi ngaphandle komphathi and
Exactly my point. Like what I'm trying to say is, in as much as there's gonna be empathy, like look at it now. You understand? There are young people that actually are doing this comedy thing in a certain way.
No, but
and they looked up to Uputsiet.
yes.
So now, because Uputsiet, yeah, he's the master. So I shouldn't invert new things into whatever.
Unfortunately, I'm not that master. I believe I'm one of the comedians who opened doors for a whole lot of comedians in this country. Let me go back to that story.
Yes.
Yes. So when I was on So You Think You're Funny, or Mangzo Winala, So You Think You're Funny, I was just a nobody, someone coming from Witbank. I remember Manko Duina, David Gow came to me and said, "You're going to Josie in front of him." Like, I've been to Josie before, so why are we making this thing as if I've never been to Josie? Then you go to So You Think You're Funny and you watch all those 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Kula 13 episode, there's a tagline that they used to use. Judges, but you knock me out of the park. So but if they give you that credit, but you knock me out of the park, it means on that day or on that episode, you killed it. Okay. Like you murder it. You watch all those episodes, David Gow never told anyone, Uguti, you knocked me out of the park. Yeah, Untoshi was saying that, Umushiri was saying that to other contestants. Then episode number 11 or 12, before the last episode, David Gow said, since the show started, you are the first guy who knocked me out of the park with the show since I started. Remember, this is a 12th episode. It shows your pal. Then you go back to the first episode, So You Think You're Funny, Masingi audition. David Gow says, you are original. That one thing about your jokes, you are original. Then you listen to the voiceover of Thomas Kometa. Thomas Kometa was the presenter. Thomas Kometa says, on the first episode, we travel across South Africa to search for comedians. But me, as Thomas Kometa, I've already found a winner. So I was already a winner go first, like before we even went to...
Before you did it.
Understand? Umushiri said to me, I don't know which you are a comedian, but I see a great artist in you. First, this is the first episode. I see a great artist in you. So when we can give you our workshops, we can come up with someone great out of you. Then that's when the workshop started. And every episode, I started improving up until Sengpuma number 1. Then you go to the last episode. When David Gow announces, the winner is, the crowd says, then that was it.
This is so interesting. Like on a normal day. No, because
yeah, but that's
you're a Christian. A spirit of almost.
Yeah. It's my name. It's Matlakala. Dangerous, rubbish, troubles. Maybe that thing was following me. I don't know. Then, after I saw You Think You're Funny, I started texting Abantu be So You Think You're Funny. Can you please give me a chance? Can you please give me a chance? They never gave me a chance. You know what I did? I became one of the few youngest comedians to do comedy shows work in South Africa. I booked over 150 comedians. Plus minus 20 comedians, they started comedy shows at my own comedy show. Then when my comedy show started booming, I started getting calls from the same people who never gave me a chance after I saw You Think You're Funny, saying, can you please book a Witbank Civic Theatre for us? Can you please do that so that we can bring shows like a sick book? Then I declined to say, I can't get shows in Johannesburg. So now I open something, I bake my own baker. Like I open I do my own bread now. Ask a vote to Sinkwasam. So you want to take... Then I think that's because I was bold now to say, you can't come to my town, and take over
You
what
built
I've
your name
built.
now.
I've built my name. I've built like Emalahleni Comedy Nights. The first show I had Shampoo, I had Chris Mapana, I had Umpo Pops.
Akuhlolo bohosta la emall kuphi.
Abangifuni ukungifuna basebenza nabantu baseJozi la basemola angifuni ukukhuluma ngabo futhi. Then after that I started doing shows. The shows were popular. All the big acts, abo Spike was Delicious, they used to come. Ronnie Mudimula, Karesolo Diekha, Skumba before he was famous, Salesman, Mashabela. There's no comedian that I've never booked. And now there were these young up and coming comedians, abo Elton Mtutuz, they started comedy shows at my show. Abo Titi Pasha, they started comedy shows at my show. Abo Tabangi R, they started, and most Joburg comedians, they started doing their outside comedy shows from Jozi in Witbank at my own comedy shows. Yeah, then.
So kahle you built a lot of brands, you built a lot of people out there. Then now, this is you now having your own thing, which is good. Like as a businesswoman, it now makes me want to have a heart of, can I not do this alone? Let me have other people that are actually doing this. I'm actually so inspired by what you're saying right now. Now, there was a time where I saw, that was my first time seeing Butit. Begayenza a comedy, sigu rooftop yasemalahleni. Niyazi kune rooftop.
That was last year or a year before last.
Yeah.
Kuleya event kwaGuqa International Festival. Ngiyabafana. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was like my first time seeing Uputiet.
I was hijacked labo.
Really?
Yeah. But Bafana is a friend of mine.
As in like Bozo attend the show.
I came to attend the show, then there was a little bit of a delayment. Then Bafana came to me and said, "Can you please do 10 minutes while we still..."
And no way. Meaning when upila comedy mos.
Not really.
Because no, we had about 3 people that were coming. And immediately when you came, okay, there's a theater and whatnot. And that day you breathed life gule comedy. And I'm like, how?
And among stage, I was like, oh, that was my worst performance ever.
No, you're lying.
I'm telling you. After that performance, I stayed in club for an hour, then I left because I was not comfortable. I don't lie to you.
No.
I don't lie to you. I was really comfortable after that performance. Where there was the MMC of Arts and Culture, Ashley Pambele, and the setup was beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It was fine.
I woke up the following morning. For the first time, I gave Bafana a credit to say, "Dog."
No, Bafana is good.
Dog.
We better say
no, dog. Yo, I was like, yo, dog.
For the first time, hearing there's a rooftop, that was okay. Witbank rooftop, and then when you come, you are met by these umbrellas.
Yeah.
I'm like, so Pila.
I
It was give and take you for a second.
It was beautiful.
But no, that day, it was my first time seeing you. And my question was, like, I wanted to ask this to any comedian. Dude, mangwarang feeling at personal, am I allowed to fucking pam? Pela bangenele.
No, like you must understand, comedians have a license to say anything. That's one thing about comedians. Things that ngingayazi the comedy le ekhona South Africa Mike, because abantu bayagwarana manje and everyone wants to be someone. Because when I watch comedy manje, most of comedians I call them karaoke comedians. Yeah, because they take this istala saka Loyiso Gola, take istala saka Skumba, take istala saka Mashabela. When I watch a comedian, I'm like, I see all the comedians in one comedian. I'm like, this is a karaoke comedian.
So nobody's trying to be themselves.
Like the last comedian who's original I think is Skumba. So the rest they are no longer original. Those who get popularity after Uskumba, none of them is original.
So none of my comedian meaning
come up with your own style.
Oh my Jesus!
Come up with your own style. There's a guy called Ndumiso Lindi, one of the finest comedian. There's salesman, finest comedian. Then you go to KZN, you'll find about Simpio Shembe, funny. You go to Eastern Cape, you find about who's that comedian? Gap, very funny. Yeah, but then you go to Joburg. Joburg is diluted. Like 90% of Joburg comedians, they do the same thing, and they steal each other's jokes. Yeah, you go to this joke. The joke little bit kunyo one band last week, and and now what I like is that comedians, they used to be shying a little, but you go to Facebook. Every Sunday you go to Facebook, watch comedians. He's all I went to a comedy show. Someone was doing my joke. Like
Oh.
Yeah, but now I've got comedians that I know with the. Yeah, it was so sad to watch my joke on TV the other day. I was like, that's my joke.
Yo.
Yeah, but
Nah, you're never
it becomes nicer when you see a young comedian who's starting out to do other people's comedy, like to do other people's jokes. It's okay. That's how we start, Nazi. We understand. But you can't be a comedian in a 5 years, 10 years experience, then you still do other people's jokes. So now,
somewhere, man, like when a school, particularly to say comedy school, with Bank.
There was an incident that happened back then. Usain's band used to steal my jokes. So waka Rodi Budimula wa blood a perform a stage. Shaka Zabok. So now because I didn't apply the rule there, these days I don't get bookings from comedy shows. So I must go and watch comedy one day.
So Saluba famous one time.
Saluba famous. Yeah, but like what made me not to get bookings? Okay, I been out when I'm booking while I was still doing. There's no sponsor. You depending on compete tickets or ticket sales. Then you promised people this much and whatever. Then that they come. Then now instead of paying that particular comedian 5,000, so you pay 4,000. And comedy is a small circle. So like now that I started going to shows, I would say it's like a hospital. Like you can imagine someone on book him something like 7 or like 8. Bese nini so hluleka ukumnikeza that 500 rand. I know there are 4 to 5 comedians that has khulumisana for the past 8 years because of that of those 500 rands. No, I'm not that person. They know themselves. They know maybe there will come a time where I will name them. Not now.
I hope Bafaz because
no gents like gents proper gents like but one thing about comedians, I will tell you something about comedians. Comedians are weird people, and they are the most difficult people to work with. But about DJs, very worst people. Like a comedian can be soft, maui book, not even soft. When you advertise a show, comedians, they book themselves. They will send you my inbox. I'm available. Then you think, I'm working with a genuine people here. Then you bring them. Then net magahlike stage. No, whatever. I even created a joke that I think it's if you want to live longer, you must start to owe people because no one wants you to die. Like imagine you owe someone and the bus is about to hit you. That particular person will protect you. Yes. No bus. This one still owes me. So when you owe comedians, it's even worse. It's even fine because comedians will call you, Antoine, I want my money. No, it's it. I cannot travel from Johannesburg to come to Witbank. Then you owe me. Hey Joe, I'm not joking anymore. I'm like, how? I was on a career, man.
No, but with that being said, with everything that we spoke about, I love the fact that there's actually a good thing that is happening.
Yeah, there is.
The people of Imalahleni. Yeah. The people of Imalahleni.
Yeah. Can I show it to our viewers at home?
You can. So, this is the upcoming event. But the people of Imalahleni. This is your upcoming event. Please take us through what will be happening here. because uyinto eziningi kungenzeka usilethela budokotela ngisathembi lutho.
Oh, yabona people from Malahleni.
Yes.
When I look at the people from Malahleni, I'm like, I'm going to resurrect the late Mbongeni Ngema.
Wait, will you be performing?
Nope. I'm not performing here.
So what's going on?
I'm the creative director, I'm the creator, I'm everything of people from Malahleni. I want this one.
Yeah.
I just want to prove a point because I'm one of the best creative artists in the world.
Okay.
People from Malahleni is going to give me a platform to showcase my art to the world. And for the first time in history, I will have an opportunity to see my mind on stage. Basically, I'm as part of the audience. I'm like, oh, that's how I think. Oh,
So, Tate Matlakala, what you meaning is there are some certain things that you wrote. Like, take us through what actually will be happening.
Let me give you a background of it, People of Malahleni. People of Malahleni, it's an idea that started when I was starting out as a creative artist. I'm one person, when I do something, I do research. The reason we know American artists and the reason we are familiar about American cities and whatever is through arts. Your Jay-Z will sing about New York. Your R. Kelly will sing about Chicago.
Yeah, that's true.
One band will sing about LA. And we haven't been there, but now we have got a picture of, LA is like this. New York is like this. So when I make a research, I realize every artist speaks about where they come from. That's the root of every artist. And we don't follow artists because they are talented. We don't love them because they are talented. We love them because of their backgrounds. Someone said to me, we don't buy talent, we buy a story. Yes. So it has always been my ambition to write something from home, to tell the story of where I come from. With comedy, I tried, because everywhere I perform, I tell people where I come from. What people, they started being familiar. Actually, Hlalangale is the popular township in Witbank. I'm not saying I played a role, but I made a significant role. I took Hlalangale to the next level. Actually, I deserve a strat. And in Hlalangale, they call me a mayor, councillor. Unfortunately, me and politics, it's the worst career that I will try to pursue. Because politics is very sensitive. So you must pursue politics if you really called. If you are really called to serve people. Yeah.
Like yeah.
So it's not my thing. Me, I'm a giver. I'm a philanthropist. I do things on my own way. Yes, that's. School of Thought. Yeah. Welcome to School of Thought. Yeah, welcome to School of Thought. So I always said I'm ambitious of doing this. Like every actor that I once worked with, like Witbank, they will tell you, Uziet is always preaching, guys, let's tell a story of Witbank. Let's tell a story of Witbank.
So the people that will be acting and all that are the people from Witbank?
Yes, before Nizalab, I just want to give you a little background of this. So I always wanted to tell this. Then I go to Google. Every time I go to Google, I find the story of Witbank written in a white perspective. 1903, Winston Churchill, Wabalega HL, Pitori came to Witbank, they discovered the coal, then the first railway, then they tell you about Abelungu, the first Miss World comes from here, Angazumtana Waga Krill, what, then they will tell you about the Puma rugby, what, then the 1990, then that's it. Then I was like, no, before Winston Churchill, it's not like we never had people here. Winston Churchill got people in Witbank. So let me tell a story in a perspective.